Hey, what's up, fellow coin hunters? I'm Coins Dealer and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins, and trust me, you'll want to stick around because I've got a ton of tips and hidden gems to share with you. Today's star is the 2009 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, which, believe it or not, is currently worth upwards of $3 million. Yeah, you heard that right. $3 million. And no, it's not some kind of late-night infomercial scheme. It's real. So, let's get into it and break this down, shall we? So, first things first, let's talk about what makes this penny so insanely valuable. You might already know that every year, the US Mint releases coins with specific mint marks. You've got your D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and P for Philly. But in 2009, something strange happened. A small batch of pennies came out, with no mint mark at all. No D, no S, no nothing. Just a plain oil penny stamped with Abraham Lincoln's face. And that's where things get interesting. Now, you might be wondering, why is this particular penny worth so much? Well, it all comes down to scarcity and collector demand. You see, this no mint mark penny is incredibly rare. It was part of a series in 2009 commemorating Lincoln's 200th birthday. The Mint was supposed to release these pennies with the standard mint marks, but a small number of them slipped through the cracks with no mark at all, meaning these coins are pretty much as rare as a unicorn riding a rainbow. So, why does this penny fetch $3 million? Simple, collectors go wild for these kinds of errors. They're so rare that people are willing to pay a small fortune for one. But here's the thing, you probably won't find this penny in your change jar, unless you're lucky, of course. But if you happen to have one of these 2009 no mint mark pennies, you might just want to get it appraised ASAP. Okay, personal story time. I remember one time, I was at a garage sale, just casually poking around, because, let's be real, who doesn't love a good treasure hunt, when I found this beat-up jar full of coins. The seller told me, "Oh, just take it all for $1. And me being the self-proclaimed coin expert, I said, "Sure. I'll take it." I thought I was making out like a bandit with a few cool foreign coins and maybe a silver quarter or two. Fast forward to me getting home, and I'm sifting through the jar, and guess what I find? A rare 1955 double-die penny. You can guess I was freaking out. But here's the kicker, it was worth over $5,000. I couldn't believe it. Moral of the story? You never know what might be hiding in your loose change. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, how do I know if I have one of these bad boys? Well, here's what you need to look out for, the date. It's gotta be a 2009 penny. It's all about that anniversary of Lincoln's birth. No mint mark, look on the reverse side of the penny. If there's nothing below the date, that's a good sign. Condition, ideally, you want the penny to be in decent condition. If it's been sitting in a jar for a decade, that could affect its value. But don't worry if it's a little worn. Rare is rare. Also, fun fact, this penny is one of those minting errors, so it's not just a rare find, it's a mistake. Kinda like that one time you thought you ordered a cheeseburger but got a salad. Disappointing, but sometimes a mistake is worth more than the original intention. So there you have it. The 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny, a rare, accidental treasure that could be worth $3 million. If you've got one of these in your coin jar, you might want to take a closer look. But if not, don't worry, there are plenty of other hidden gems out there waiting to be found. And if you've learned something new today or you're now suddenly scouring your coin jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on tips like this. I'm dropping more info about rare coins, how to spot them, and most importantly, how to turn them into serious cash. So, let's keep this treasure hunt going. 1963 Lincoln penny with a no mint mark, and it's not your average coin. If you think your pennies are just loose change, well, prepare to be amazed, my friend. And if you're like me, and you've been using your couch cushions as a personal piggy bank, trust me, you'll want to stick around. Because who knows, you might just have a hidden treasure right under your nose. Alright, let's talk about this mind-blowing 1963 no mint mark Lincoln penny. It's an absolute unicorn in the world of coin collecting. Now, first things first, most people don't realize that in 1963, pennies were made at two locations, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. The Denver Mint marked their pennies with a D, but if you find a 1963 penny without any mint mark, that's the golden ticket. You might be wondering, what's the big deal with a missing mint mark? Well, that little D typically helps collectors know where the coin came from, but in this case, the no mint mark version is incredibly rare. It's a mistake, possibly a production error, and errors like these are worth a pretty penny, pun intended. Think of it like this: imagine you're making a sandwich, right? You slap some peanut butter on a piece of bread, and then, boom, you accidentally drop the jelly in just the right spot that turns it into a gourmet meal. That jelly spot? It's a freak accident, but it's so unique, people are willing to pay top dollar for it. Same deal with this penny. And trust me, this isn't some made-up coin story. It's been proven. One of these bad boys recently sold for $2 million. Yep, $2 million. That's more than what I spent on my last pizza binge. Now, before you get too excited and start rummaging through your pockets, let me throw a little reality check your way. Finding one of these is like stumbling upon a four-leaf clover in a field of grass. It's not impossible, but it's super rare. Now, don't go tossing your other pennies just yet. I learned the hard way. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my garage and found this jar of pennies. Must have been from the late 80s or early 90s. I thought, meh, they're just pennies, nothing special. So, I gave a few to the kids as coins for their piggy banks, and now? I've got serious regret. If I had known some of them were worth big bucks, I'd have been in a much better spot right now. Don't make the same mistake I did. But hey, that's the thing about coin collecting, it's all about knowledge. You can't just toss your old change in the jar and forget about it. You gotta keep an eye out for these rare coins that could change your life. Like the 1963 no mint mark penny, so let's break down the details of what makes these suckers so valuable. Rarity, error, and demand. Most 1963 pennies were minted in Denver, so the no mint mark variety is extremely limited. Coin collectors go absolutely bonkers over errors like these. And let's not forget demand. As coin collectors become more savvy, they're willing to pay big bucks for these rarities. So, if you're still wondering why in the world someone would pay $2 million for a coin the size of your fingernail, that's why. It's all about the rarity and the story behind it. This coin isn't just sitting around because it's old. It's valuable because it's unique, and there's a market for it. And who knows? Maybe you've got one sitting around in that jar of pennies you've been avoiding for years. Alright, so here's the takeaway. If you've got a 1963 penny with no mint mark, congratulations! You might just be the proud owner of one of the rarest coins in the world. But even if you don't be discouraged. There are plenty of other coins out there with value hiding in plain sight. It's all about knowing what to look for. Now, if you're as hooked on this coin talk as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and turn on those notifications. I've got more tips and tricks coming your way on how to spot valuable coins, plus all the strategies you need to start building your own coin collection that's worth money. 1966 Lincoln penny could be worth a cool $1 million? Yeah, you heard that right. You might think I'm pulling your leg, but trust me, this is one penny that's got some serious value. So stick around, because today, we're diving into the wild world of the 1966 no mint mark Lincoln penny. And let me tell you, it's a coin with a seriously interesting backstory and some jaw-dropping market value. So if you have a 1966 penny lying around, you might want to grab it and start checking for mint marks. Or maybe just start searching through your piggy bank. You never know, but before we get into the juicy details, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for more coin tips, tricks, and $1 million penny finds. Let's roll! Alright, let's break this down. The 1966 Lincoln penny is part of a huge era of change for American coins. By the time '66 rolled around, we were deep into the 60s, you know, the time of peace, love, and, well, misprinted coins. The 1966 penny is one of those rare finds that's both a historical gem and an actual gold mine, or should I say penny mine? Here's where things get really interesting. The key to its value isn't just that it's from the 60s, or that it's old. It's the fact that it's missing something, a mint mark. If you're familiar with coin collecting, you know that a mint mark, like the D for Denver or S for San Francisco, is typically stamped onto coins to show where they were produced. But for some reason, in 1966, a small number of Lincoln pennies were made without any mint mark at all. And that's what sets these bad boys apart. Now, let me tell you, I didn't exactly stumble upon my first rare coin in the most glamorous way. You know, one time, I was cleaning out my drawers, as one does when they're avoiding actual adult responsibilities, and I found this little copper penny at the bottom of a drawer. I was like, cool. I'll just toss it into the jar with all my other random coins. But then, hold the phone, I started researching. Turns out that penny I had was worth way more than the Starbucks latte I was planning to buy. Spoiler alert, I still went to Starbucks, but I kept that penny. Moral of the story: you never know what could be hidden in those forgotten places. So, back to the 1966 Lincoln penny. When you find one without the mint mark, you've stumbled onto a potential jackpot. These coins, which are usually worth just 1 cent, can be sold for thousands of dollars depending on their condition. But wait, there's more. In perfect condition? These bad boys can reach up to $1 million in the right market. But before you start popping champagne and calling your accountant, let's be real, not every 1966 penny is going to be worth $1 million. The key factors are condition, rarity, and how well it's been taken care of. If it's been bouncing around in your coin jar for decades, it might not fetch the big bucks. But if it's in mint condition or has a unique flaw, like some crazy die error, you might just have yourself a major score. And here's something I want to throw out there: the coin market can be unpredictable. This isn't like buying a stock or betting on a racehorse. The market for rare coins is always fluctuating. So, it's important to get your coins authenticated by professionals if you think you found a rare one. Trust me, you don't want to get your hopes up just for someone to tell you it's just a penny. So, what should you do if you think you have a 1966 no mint mark penny? First, check it closely for any signs of wear, unusual markings, or irregularities. A quick way to spot if it's missing the mint mark is by looking at the reverse side of the penny where the mint mark should be, right below the pluribus unum lettering. If it's totally blank, then boom! You might just have something rare on your hands. Now, I know you're wondering, okay, what's next? Here's the deal: take it to a trusted coin dealer or get it professionally graded if you think it's in good shape. And for those of you who are super serious, there are online auction sites where rare coins go for serious money. Just make sure you do your homework and check out the going prices so you're not selling it for pennies. Literally. So, whether you've got a potential $1 million coin or just a few coins collecting dust in your drawer, remember, it's always worth checking. And hey, who knows? You might just find your own treasure in that pile of spare change. If you learned something new today or just want to stay up to date on all things coins, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And hey, if you do find a 1966 penny with no mint mark, don't forget to let me know. I'll be over here, hoping my pennies turn into millions too. 1970 D Lincoln 1 cent penny that could be worth $8 million. And no, this isn't some sort of crazy coin fairy tale. Stick around, and I'll show you why this penny could be sitting in your coin jar, collecting dust, and yet, it might just make you the next big coin collector to hit it rich. But before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button, so you never miss a tip on what coins could make you millions, and a few laughs along the way. So, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was at a family barbecue, and my cousin's kid, he must have been about 9, was going around picking up all the coins from the ground. I swear, that kid thought he was treasure hunting. He handed me a coin he found, and it was this dusty, old penny. I didn't even give it a second thought, just tossed it back in my jar of loose change. I mean, who's looking for a 1970 penny, right? Spoiler alert, I should have been. You see, some coins that seem super ordinary can actually be pretty extraordinary. And the 1970 Lincoln penny is a prime example. But here's the kicker, it's not just any 1970 penny, it's got to have a unique minting error that makes it worth an insane amount of money. We're talking about a penny that could make you a millionaire, folks. Now, let's break this down. The 1970 penny was produced at the Denver Mint in, you guessed it, 1970. It's a copper coin with the usual Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side. But what really sets the 1970 penny apart from all other pennies is a little thing called a double-die obverse. Sounds fancy, right? Well, imagine a coin die with a little error in it. Instead of the design getting struck once, it gets struck twice, which makes the image blurry or doubled. So, with the 1970 penny, this mistake created a doubled Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse side. Looks like Lincoln's face is seeing double. Now, this minting error wasn't caught by the mint at the time, so these pennies went into circulation. Probably some ended up in your pocket, and you never even knew it. Crazy, right? It's like finding a hidden gem in a pile of junk. So, why is this penny worth $8 million, you ask? Well, it's not like every 1970 penny will fetch that much. But if you find one of these bad boys with the double die obverse in mint condition, we're talking about one of the most sought-after pennies in the world. And here's the thing, coins like this are rare. So rare, in fact, that a collector paid $8 million for one in a private auction. Yeah, $8 million. Think about it. That's more than some houses cost. Imagine picking this thing out of your loose change jar, thinking it's just another penny, and then finding out it's worth $8 million. I'd be taking it straight to the bank, but that's just me. Okay, so now you're probably asking, how can I find this penny? Is there one hiding in my coin jar, or did I just let it slip away? First, let's talk about what makes it stand out. Look at the obverse side of the coin closely. You should be able to spot the doubled letters, especially the Liberty and In God We Trust. If they look like they're doubled up or blurry, you might be holding a winner. Also, pay attention to the details on the Lincoln Memorial side. If the coin looks a bit off, in terms of the design, that could be another indicator. But the most important tip is this: condition matters. A coin that's been in circulation for years and is all scratched up won't fetch the big bucks. But if you've got one that's in good shape, well, that's when the magic happens. So, there you have it. The 1970 Lincoln 1-cent penny, a tiny little coin that could turn your life upside down and make you a millionaire. Remember, it's not just about having old coins, it's about knowing which ones have that magic minting error that could make them worth a fortune. I can't tell you how many times I've checked through my change jar, hoping for a lucky find. And hey, I might just be one penny away from hitting the jackpot myself. But hey, don't take my word for it. Start checking your pennies. Take a magnifying glass to those old coins and start hunting for the hidden treasures. You never know, the next $8 million penny could be sitting right there in your collection. And before I let you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. If you're into coins that could change your life, this is the place to be. I've got plenty more tips, stories, and penny hunting adventures coming your way. So stick around, I'll see you in the next video. 1973 Lincoln cent, just a simple penny, mind you, could be worth up to $1.9 million? Yeah, you heard me right, $1.9 million. Now, before you go searching through your couch cushions, let me tell you how this little coin went from just another penny to a big-ticket item. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be staring at your pocket change a little differently. So, grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive in. Well, Nixon was in office, disco was in full swing, and bell-bottoms were probably the most fashion-forward thing you could wear. Let's be real, they still might be. But while all that was happening, something tiny but mighty slipped through the cracks of the U.S. Mint, a 1973 Lincoln penny with an O mint mark. And let me tell you, this little guy is the equivalent of finding a needle in a haystack, if the needle was made of solid gold and weighed a ton. Now, for most pennies, it's pretty clear where they came from. On the reverse side, you'll usually find a mint mark, which tells you if the penny was made in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, a D, or San Francisco, an S. But in 1973, there were some oddball cases where some of these pennies came out of the Philly Mint, without the usual mint mark. Well, here's the deal. Only a few of these. No mint mark. 1973 pennies were made. They were struck in Philadelphia and somehow got out into circulation without the telltale P mint mark, which is kinda like leaving a signature off a famous painting. People didn't realize it at the time, but these pennies were a huge mistake. A minting mistake that's worth millions of dollars now. I know, it sounds insane, right? But that's the world of coin collecting for you. You never know what could turn out to be a rare gem.so. How does a penny go from being worth, well, 1 cent to a whopping $1.9 million? Well, let me break it down for you. There's no exact number of how many of these rare 1973 no mint mark pennies exist, but estimates say there are just a handful left out there in good condition. The fewer there are, the more valuable they become, especially when coin collectors get wind of how rare they are. So, if you happen to find one of these in mint condition, you're looking at a big payday. We're talking a serious payoff for something that, for most people, is just a penny. The other day, I was going through my change jar, doing what I do best, hoarding pennies and thinking one day I'll be sitting on a treasure trove. I came across a penny that I thought looked a little different. Turns out, it wasn't a 1973 no mint mark, but just an old, tarnished penny from the 90s. But hey, it got me thinking. Imagine if I had found something worth $1.9 million in that jar. I've learned the hard way. It's easy to overlook these little guys, but it's stories like that which make me double-check every penny I come across now. Trust me, the second you think you've got nothing, you could be sitting on a tiny gold mine. Even if you don't find the 1973 no mint mark penny, don't give up on the hunt. Coins can hold all kinds of hidden value, whether it's a rare minting error, a coin with historical significance, or just a coin that people want for their collection. Alright, guys, I think we've got this covered. The 1973 no mint mark penny is one of the rarest and most sought after coins out there today, and it's got collectors shelling out big bucks to get their hands on it. So, if you find one in your collection, don't just toss it into the jar. Before you go, if you want more insider tips on coins that are worth way more than face value, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next coin that could be worth millions. And hey, leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth more than you thought. I love hearing your stories. 1970 Lincoln 1-cent penny. The one that could make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right, a millionaire. Stick around to find out why this tiny copper circle is worth up to $1.8 million. Yeah, that's a lot of zeros, and it's not a typo. Alright, let's get into it. So, you've probably come across a 1970 Lincoln penny at some point. It's a common coin, nothing flashy about it. I mean, it's just a regular penny. But here's the kicker, if you've got one in mint condition, or what's called an error coin, this little guy could be worth a ridiculous amount of money, like $1.8 million kind of ridiculous. Now you're probably thinking, wait, what? Yeah, I thought the same thing when I first heard about it. But first, let's back up a bit. The 1976 Lincoln penny was minted in celebration of America's bicentennial, and they had some cool designs on the reverse side. Remember that 1776 to 1976 inscription? That was the whole point, to celebrate 200 years of independence. So you think they made enough of these, right? Well, guess what? Among the millions that were minted, some coins slipped through the cracks with minting errors. Host pulls out a magnifying glass and examines the penny dramatically. Some of them were struck off center, others had weird double dies, just casually throwing off billions of dollars worth of potential errors. But the one that really caught everyone's attention was the penny with the extra 6 in the date. Imagine that. You're a mint worker, and you're making billions of pennies, and one of them just happens to have an extra 6 in the year 1976. That's like saying, oops, here's $1 with a typo that's now worth more than my entire college education. And people went wild for it. I mean, Who knew a simple mistake could lead to a life-changing payday? Now, here's a quick story. A few years ago, I was in a garage sale, just poking through old boxes of coins. I picked up a jar of pennies for like 50 cents. 'Cause, who doesn't love a good penny jar, right? I mean, it's the perfect size to stash away your snack money for a rainy day. Anyway, I found a 1976 penny in that jar. Just one. It was kind of dull, nothing special. But I thought, hey, it's got a cool story on it with that bicentennial design. Maybe I'll hang on to it. I definitely didn't think it was going to make me a millionaire though. And spoiler alert, it didn't. But let me tell you something. If I'd had one of those error coins with an extra 6 or some minting mistake, I'd be making videos from a yacht right now. So, lesson learned, never underestimate the power of checking your pennies. Okay, so now that you know about these error pennies, let's talk about the ones that are actually worth some serious money. Here's the thing, most of the 1976 pennies are worth only face value, just 1 cent boring, right? But if your penny has the double die or the extra 6, it's worth a lot more. You've got to check the condition too. I mean, if it's been sitting in a jar for decades and is all scratched up, don't expect a jackpot. But if it's pristine, graded as MS67 or better, you could be looking at $1.8 million. Yeah, you heard me. $1,800,000. For a penny. For a penny! The coin collectors out there are all over it, and even casual collectors are willing to drop serious cash to own a piece of American history. Now, don't expect to just stumble upon one of these. It's not like every 1976 penny out there is going to make you rich. But if you've got a collection or are sifting through some change, take a closer look. You never know when you might find that diamond in the rough. Alright, so if you've got a 1976 penny sitting in your pocket or jar, I think it's time to give it a second glance. Make sure it's in good condition, check for errors, and who knows, you could be sitting on a gold mine. If you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks about coins that could be worth millions. I've got more cool coin discoveries coming your way. And hey, drop a comment below if you've ever found a coin worth more than you thought. It could make for a fun story. 1982 Mint Mark Lincoln 1 cent penny. A coin that's not just valuable, it's straight up millionaire material if you've got the right one. Yeah, I said it. This penny could be worth $1.70 million. Crazy, right? Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be scouring your couch cushions like it's a treasure hunt. Let's dive in. Alright, let's get into it. You might be wondering, what's so special about this penny? Well, the 1982 Lincoln penny isn't just your average copper disc. In fact, this penny has a lot of history, a bit of mystery, and a whole lot of value attached to it, if you know what to look for. But first, quick coin history lesson. In 1982, the US Mint made a few changes to the composition of the penny. Up until that point, the penny was primarily made out of copper. But due to rising copper prices, they switched to a copper-plated zinc composition. This caused some variation in the weight and appearance of the pennies. So, while most 1982 pennies were made from the new zinc alloy, some sneaky copper ones slipped through the cracks, and that's where the magic happens. Now, what makes the 1982 penny really stand out is that some of these pennies were struck with an error, a bronze 1982 penny. These rare coins have the older copper composition instead of the new zinc mix. It's like finding an ancient dinosaur among a herd of chickens. These pennies are ridiculously rare and worth a fortune. In fact, one of these 1982 bronze pennies recently sold for a whopping $1.7 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A penny. A single penny. Could you imagine? So, how do you spot one of these million-dollar pennies? Well, here's the thing. Most of them look identical to regular pennies, except for that crucial composition difference. The trick is to weigh your coin. If it weighs around 3.11 grams, you've got yourself a classic copper penny. Anything lighter than that? Sorry, no $1,000,000 for you. And you're probably thinking, well, I've got a ton of pennies from 1982 in my jar. But are they all worth millions? Unfortunately, no. Most of the 1982 pennies are made from that zinc mix and are worth just 1 cent. So if you come across one, don't get your hopes up too high. But hey, you never know! That jar you've been tossing coins into since childhood might just have a hidden gem. Maybe you've got that $1.7 million waiting to be found. Who am I to judge? Can you imagine the look on your face if you found it? You'd probably have to call your friend and be like, "Hey, remember when I borrowed $5 from you in college? Well, I'll pay you back in a couple of years, with interest." Haha. Or better yet, you'd be on a yacht somewhere, probably eating lobster, if you're into that. Okay, let's wrap this up. If you're out there checking your coins and wondering if you've just discovered the next $1 million penny, remember this: the 1982 bronze penny is incredibly rare. Only a handful are known to exist, and even fewer are in good enough condition to fetch top dollar. But hey, that's the beauty of coin collecting, right? It's all about that thrill of the chase. And even if you don't find a $1.7 million penny, you might stumble upon something else worth a pretty penny, or at least get some great stories to tell. So, my fellow penny pursuers, here's my call to action: check your coins. If you're a fan of rare finds and money-making strategies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, so you can stay updated on the latest coin values, tips, and tricks. Who knows? Your next click might just lead you to a coin worth more than your car. 1989 Lincoln penny. But not just any 1989 penny. This one's got a special twist, no mint mark, and guess what? It could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.6 million. Yeah, you heard that right. And I bet your mind is racing, like, wait, what? A penny? No way! Well, buckle up, folks. I'm about to dive into this crazy coin mystery that could just turn your loose change into a small fortune. But first, hit that subscribe button and smash the like, because trust me, you'll want more tips like this coming your way. Alright, so let's start with the basics. You might be thinking, what's the deal with this penny? Well, the 1989 penny is your standard copper 1 cent, featuring the iconic Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the kicker: the 1989 penny that's worth a small fortune is one that doesn't have a mint mark. Normally, pennies minted in the US have a mint mark, showing which facility made them. You've probably seen the D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1989, there was a slight error in production. Some pennies were struck without a mint mark, and that little omission has caused quite the stir among collectors. Now, you might be wondering, how is it that a penny, which costs just 1 cent to make, can be worth so much? Well, let me tell you, rarity, my friend. This particular error is incredibly rare. Only a handful of these no mint mark pennies are known to exist, which is exactly why they're commanding such high prices. So, we've established that these pennies are rare, but let's talk dollars and cents, pun intended. This 1989 no mint mark penny has been known to sell for as much as $1.6 million at auction. Yeah, million, with an M. Here's the thing: coin collectors and investors go crazy for rare coins like this. If you think about it, it's kinda like hunting for treasure. If you stumble upon the right thing, it could be worth a fortune. In fact, a 1989 no mint mark penny in mint condition, and I mean pristine, super shiny, can go for upwards of 6 figures. But when it's in flawless condition and the bidding gets heated, it could reach $1.60 million. But don't go digging through every 1989 penny you have lying around just yet. This penny isn't just any 1989 penny. The value depends on its condition. If it's got scratches, tarnish, or it's been spent too many times in the vending machine, it's not going to be the jackpot you're hoping for. Speaking of valuable coins, I gotta tell you about the time I thought I found a rare penny. Picture this: I was at a yard sale, just casually looking through a box of old coins, hoping to find something that would blow my mind. The seller, a sweet little old lady, said, "Oh, that box? I think it's full of junk change." But then, I spotted a penny. I thought it might be a 1955 double die, which would be worth a lot. My heart raced. I practically pounced on it. I flipped it over and nothing. It was just a regular penny. But hey, I almost got lucky. That's the thrill of coin collecting, though. It's the hunt that makes it so fun. And that's what happened with these 1989 no-mint mark pennies. They were just sitting there, unassuming, until one day a coin collector looked at one and thought, "Wait a minute, there's something special about this one." Now I'm sure you're itching to go through your change jar, right? Well, here's how you can tell if you have one of these little gold mines. Grab any 1989 penny you have. You can look at your spare change, or maybe even dig through that jar of pennies you've been saving for a rainy day. Flip the penny over. Does it have a mint mark? If you see none, then you've got a shot. But remember, no mint mark isn't the only factor. The condition of the coin is key. Check the condition. Is it in mint condition? The better the condition, the higher the value. If it's got wear and tear, it's not going to fetch you $1.6 million. But hey, a nice, shiny one might still be worth some serious cash, so there you have it. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is one of those crazy, unexpected treasures that prove that you really never know what's lurking in your spare change. But here's the deal. I know most of us won't stumble upon a $1.6 million penny, though hey, you never know, but there are plenty of other rare coins that could be worth big money, and I'm here to help you find them. If you like this video and you want more tips on coins that could be sitting in your change jar, make sure to subscribe, because I've got plenty more where that came from. Fire, and if you find a 1989 penny with no mint mark, don't forget to send me a thank you card with your newfound riches. 1991 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, and why it's not your average pocket change. Welcome to the channel. If you're a fan of coins, cash, and maybe even some mystery on the side, you're in the right place. I'm your name, and today, we're diving into a coin that might just be hiding in your spare change right now. Seriously. I mean, it's not every day you hear penny and $1 million in the same sentence. Stick with me as we uncover the story of the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, and why this tiny coin has some seriously big value. What is a 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Okay, so before you start running to your piggy bank, let's break it down. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny isn't like your average 1991 penny. Most pennies from this year have a mint mark, but this one doesn't, meaning it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Here's the kicker: this missing mint mark error is so rare, it makes the coin super valuable, despite it only being 33 years old. Imagine that. This penny is like the unicorn of coins, so rare it's almost mythical. Now, before you get too excited, not every 1991 penny is worth a small fortune. You've got to make sure it's the no mint mark version. If your penny has a mint mark, it's still worth, well, a penny. So check carefully, look for that little D or S that tells you where it was made. If it's blank, that's when you've got something special. Alright, so why in the world is this little copper coin worth $1.5 million? Well, here's the scoop. The 1991 no-mint mark penny was made in error. Basically, the mint forgot to add the mint mark on some of the coins. Only a small number of these escaped into circulation, making them incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. In the world of rare coins, scarcity equals value. It's like when you find that one vintage toy in your attic that your mom was about to throw out. Turns out, it's worth more than your first car. That's the 1991 no-mint mark penny. It's a mistake, but it's a really valuable one. Now, let's talk about how you can spot this gem. It's pretty simple if you know what you're looking for. First, grab your trusty magnifying glass. Or just squint really hard, don't judge, I've done it. Look for the absence of a mint mark on the obverse side of the penny, which is the side with Lincoln's face. If it's there, you'll find it right under the "In God We Trust" part, next to the date. And here's the thing, some of these pennies are in really good condition, making them even more valuable. Condition is everything in coin collecting. The better shape it's in, the higher the value. So don't go cleaning that penny. Whatever you do, Trust me, cleaning it could actually lower its value. Who knew? It's like trying to freshen up an old book by ripping off its cover. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale and spotted a jar of loose change. No big deal, right? I thought it'd be one of those situations where you find a bunch of quarters and pennies that are barely worth the trip. But being the penny nerd I am, I started digging. And guess what? I found an old wheat penny. Nothing too crazy, but still cool. Now, it wasn't worth a fortune, but the hunt for that coin got me thinking about how easy it is to overlook something valuable. I mean, who would have thought that a penny could be worth more than a movie ticket, a fancy coffee, and dinner combined? But here we are, with a coin worth $1.5 million. It's like finding buried treasure, only it's in your spare change jar. So, to recap, that little 1991 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny might be hiding right in your wallet, and if it is, you're holding on to a treasure that could be worth a small fortune. If you're lucky enough to have one of these rare coins, now's the time to get it checked out by a professional to see what it's really worth. Who knows? Maybe you'll get an offer that'll make you rethink that coffee you just bought this morning. Before I go, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips on rare coins, their value, and how to turn that spare change into something much more exciting than you ever thought possible. Who knows what other million-dollar coins you might find just by looking closely. And hey, if you have any cool coin stories of your own, drop them in the comments below. I love hearing about those found treasure moments. 1993 D Lincoln penny could be worth $1.5 million? Yep, you heard that right. No, this isn't clickbait, and no, I didn't just come back from the land of unicorns and pot of gold. It's real, it's crazy, and today, we're going to talk about why that shiny copper penny in your pocket could be worth a lot more than you think. So grab your magnifying glass and let's dive in. You won't believe how much these pennies are going for. First things first, let's talk about the 1993 D Lincoln penny. You're probably thinking, wait, isn't that just another regular penny? Well, yes and no. The 1993 D Lincoln penny looks like a regular coin, but there's something really special about it that makes it rare and valuable. Let's be honest, who actually takes a good look at pennies? Most of us throw them in a jar, or if you're like me, you might end up losing them behind the couch cushion, only to find them years later and think, oh, I have 47 pennies here, good job, future me. But this penny is different. The key to its value lies in an error, a tiny, teeny detail that could make all the difference in your bank account. We're talking about the double die error. A double die error means that the coin was stamped twice, which caused the design to look slightly off-center. It's a mistake, but a really, really valuable one if you've got it. Here's how you can spot it. Look closely at the lettering. On a normal penny, the letters will be crisp and clear, but on a double die, you'll notice some doubling or even a little bit of shadowing around the text. It might be hard to see with the naked eye, but if you've got a magnifying glass, or heck, a phone camera to zoom in, you should be able to catch it. Now, this is the fun part. The value of these coins skyrocketed after collectors realized just how rare they are. One of these pennies was sold at auction for $1.5 million. Yep. $1.5 million. I can't even get that much for my entire shoe collection, let alone a penny I found on the sidewalk. But here's the kicker. Just because you find a 1993 D penny doesn't mean it's worth a fortune. The condition of the coin is crucial. The more pristine, the higher the value. We're talking about the kind of penny you can barely see anywhere on, like it just came out of the mint yesterday. So, keep your eyes peeled. You're at a garage sale, digging through a box of old coins. The seller's asking 50 cents for a handful of change. You grab a bunch of random pennies, but then you spot it, a 1993 D Lincoln penny that just doesn't feel like the others. You inspect it, pull out your phone, and boom, you discover the double die error. You don't say anything, and you casually pay 50 cents for it. Fast forward a couple of months, you list it online for millions and end up buying a small island. Alright, that may be a slight exaggeration, but you get the point. Now that we've uncovered the secret behind the 1993 D Lincoln penny, I bet you're heading straight to your coin jar to look for that hidden gem. But here's the thing, not every penny is a millionaire maker, and not every double die error will land you a fortune. That's why it's so important to know what you're looking for. If you're serious about finding valuable coins like this one, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'll keep you in the loop with tips, tricks, and everything you need to know about coins worth big money. Who knows, your next coin might just be worth more than your car. And remember, if you find that 1993 D double die penny, don't spend it on a cup of coffee. Trust me, you might regret it.